All right, it's 11 minutes before 7 o'clock. Welcome back. Now, according to research done by SABC, more than 91 girls between the ages of 12 and 17, either get 91,000 girls, of course, I beg your pardon, they either get married or they divorcee as it is now. This is often due to economic and patriarchal societal practices. SABC results of their 2016 community survey identify that KwaZulu-Natal ranked the highest nationally with regard to young female learners getting married before completing school. KZN totaled a staggering 25,205 and Gauteng 15,929 young brides in 2016 only. But joining us now to take this discussion further is Professor Deirdre Byrne, and she is the chairperson of University of South Africa's Africa Girl Development Program. Prof, good morning to you and thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you and welcome to the listeners.
Thank you so much indeed. These numbers are shocking, and I think what is even more shocking is the fact that in some instances these young girls get into marriage willingly.
They do. Palisa, the number of young girls who are either legally married or living together with somebody as a husband, wife or partner, or separated but still legally married, or divorced or widowed, or have lived with somebody as a husband and wife below the age of 17, it's a very high number. It's 91,000 young girls. And it indicates that some of those young girls enter into these relationships of their own accord, willingly and with full consent.
Yeah. But why are they even doing it? Because I see mainly it's like your rural areas. Is it due to poverty maybe?
It has to be due to poverty. I cannot imagine that a young girl who is essentially a child is going to agree to get married, which is essentially an act of an adult, if there was no economic motive. Likewise, I mean, the listeners probably know that you can't get married if one or both parties is below the age of 18 without the consent of both parents.
Yeah.
So parents are consenting for their children to get married and get into these legal unions. So the only reason why a parent would do this, that I can think of being a parent myself, is for economic gain or out of sheer economic desperation, if we look at it another way. And I mean, that's borne out by the statistics, because we know that KwaZulu-Natal is the poorest, one of the very poorest areas of the country where economic inequality is at its highest.
So the parents would obviously arrange and agree to this, being tempted by the prospects of lobola.
Indeed. They were all. Yes.
But is it really breaking the cycle of poverty? Because I would imagine that once these young girls get married, automatically they leave school to take up their duties as wives. So it is indeed contributing towards poverty. It's not alleviating poverty at all.
I think we have to look at poverty in on two different scales. There's poverty, immediate poverty. So say your parents who are living in a rural area of KwaZulu-Natal and they have 6 children. And they just literally don't have money to feed the 6 children this weekend and this month. So somebody comes along and they offer them 20,000 Rand.
Yeah.
You will take the 20,000 Rand because you get the immediate relief. But long term, it is going to continue to replicate the cycle of poverty, because these young girls will not be in school, will not get trained, will not develop skills, will not be employable in the future, and in addition, will most likely be having children of their own who themselves will be growing up in conditions of the most appalling poverty, the likes that we hope no citizen in South Africa could even have to imagine.
Sure. So, but how different is this practice from your normal ukutwala, which of course we know it is illegal now in South Africa?
Ukutwala is abduction. Ukutwala is where an older man walking down the street sees a young girl whom he likes the look of and picks up and takes her.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of like stealing, and will then actually force them into a marriage of some description. Once again, Palesa, a person who abducts a young girl and forces her into marriage can't do that legally without the consent of the parents. So the parents must be consenting again and I'm thinking again with some level of economic compensation for the sale of the daughter.
So what happens to these men who marry young girls? Are they ever prosecuted for statutory rape maybe?
No, nothing happens. They proceed in happiness and patriarchal enjoyment, I should imagine. However, it's important to note that statutory rape, sex is considered rape if either one of the parties is younger than 16. So they can be prosecuted for statutory free rape. And in my opinion, they should be.
And in terms of the parents who agree to this arranged marriage, can they also face criminal charges?
No. There's no consequences for them, no.
God. But is this ever going to end?
Well,
more so because it happens in your deepest rural areas where there's lack of education on such matters.
It had better end, because if this trend continues, and there's a website called Girls Not Brides, which projects that if we carry on seeing child marriages at the rate that we're seeing them at the moment, by the time it gets to 2050, about the number of child brides is going to double. This is going to cause an implosion of the family structure, actually, because these people who are believed to be younger than 17 cannot possibly raise children. They can't possibly produce stable social units. So it has to end. I don't think we have a choice. And the only way we're going to do that, I believe, is through education.
Yeah, so that's the only way. So where do we even start with that education? Because this is sort of a culture that's been going on for years. It's not something new.
No, it's not something new. This is an ongoing trend. And so, I mean, this broadcast is part of educating people about this situation. So the first step, I think, is to raise consciousness and raise awareness in the nation as a whole, and to make South Africa realize this is not just the problem of poor people in rural areas. This is all of our problem. It's not something we can close our eyes to. Really, it's not. And then for us to go to those rural areas and conduct workshops and education sessions and try to teach people to value a daughter. You know, we have a culture in South Africa of son preference. We believe that the son is what we need, and we're very happy if we have a son. Exactly. Yeah. And daughter aversion, because a daughter is a drain on the family resources and so on. We need to start reversing those perceptions. Now, of course, reversing perceptions takes a while.
It takes a while.
And we have to start small, and we have to start gradual. But I believe that with determination, we can do it.
All right, Prof, we'll leave it at that for now. But thank you so much indeed for coming through.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, there you have it. That's Professor Deirdre Byrne. She is the chairperson of University of South Africa's Girl Development Program, of course, talking to us about these shocking statistics. More than 91,000 girls between the ages of 12 and 17 in South Africa either get married customarily or civilly. And this is, of course, due to economic problems and challenges that they face in your deepest rural areas. Let's take a break here on Morning Live. Your news at 7 will follow. Stay tuned.